ask you something. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling? Let me tell you right now, there is no perfect time, no perfect plan, and no perfect feeling. There is only one moment that matters, and that moment is now. Do this now. Whatever that dream is, that goal, that thing that's been burning inside of you, start now. We live in a world full of distractions, full of people telling you to slow down, to wait, to take it easy. But the truth is, your life doesn't change when you wait. Your life changes when you act. Do this now. Decide who you really are. Decide what matters to you. Not what the world wants you to be, not what your past has told you, but what your soul knows to be true. You see, we all carry a story. Some of us carry pain, some carry regret, some carry fear, and for too long, we let those things define us. We wear our past like a badge and wonder why we can't move forward. But here's the truth. Your past is not your prison. It's your fuel. The pain, the failure, the heartbreak, it's not meant to break you. It's meant to wake you, to remind you that you're still here, you're still breathing, and as long as you're breathing, you've got power. Power to shift, power to change, power to decide. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I don't feel ready. Let me let you in on something. Nobody ever feels ready. Not even in the sense that you aren't motivated. You might not feel ready. What's changed me? Guess what? Nobody ever feels ready. But that means that you might not feel ready. Let me tell you this. You aren't ready. You aren't ready. Champions aren't born ready. Leaders don't wake up fearless. They act in spite of fear. They move in spite of doubt. They rise in spite of uncertainty. Because they know one thing, you either live by decision or you live by delay. And delay is the silent killer. It kills dreams, it kills momentum, it kills the fire inside of you. So what's the alternative? Do this now. Right now, make the choice to stop playing small. You weren't born for average. You weren't born to settle. Deep inside you, there's a giant waiting to be unleashed. A force so powerful that when you tap into it, your life changes in an instant. Let's get started. But you've got to move. You've got to raise your standards. You've got to stop accepting excuses from yourself. You've got to look in the mirror and say, enough is enough. I'm done waiting. I'm done watching other people live the life I know I'm capable of. Because here's the thing, your future is being shaped by what you tolerate today. If you tolerate laziness, you'll live in regret. If you tolerate fear, you'll live in frustration. But if you say, I'm done tolerating my own limitations, everything shifts. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You need a decision, a moment, a spark, a shift inside you that says, I will no longer let fear win. I will no longer let my dreams die quietly. I will no longer wait for permission to become who I was born to be. Do this now. Claim your power. You've got something inside you that no one else has. A voice, a story, a strength. And the world needs it. The world needs you, fully alive, fully awake, and fully committed. Not half in, not when it's convenient, but fully, completely. Now, stop waiting for the stars to align. You are the star. You make the alignment happen through action, through courage, through grit, And yes, you will fall. You will face rejection. You will feel like giving up. But you won't. Because deep down, you'll remember this moment. This voice inside that's saying, don't stop. Don't quit. Don't run. Step in. Step up. Do this now. You want confidence? Take action. You want clarity? Take action. You want transformation? It doesn't come from talking, wishing, or hoping. It comes from movement. From massive, imperfect, relentless action. So let me ask you, what's one thing you can do today, not tomorrow, not next week, today, right now? Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's sending that message. Maybe it's signing up. Maybe it's walking away. Maybe it's finally saying yes to yourself. Whatever it is, do it now. Not because it's easy, but because your life depends on it. Your peace depends on it. Your destiny depends on it. Time is not your friend if you waste it, but time becomes your greatest ally when you use it. When you move with purpose, when you speak with truth, when you live with urgency. So make the shift from I'll try to I will, from I hope to I create, from maybe one day to this is the day. Because the people who succeed in life are not the lucky ones. They're the bold ones. The ones who step up when everyone else steps back. The ones who say, I may not be ready, but I'm willing. And willingness is stronger than fear. So I leave you with this. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to be perfect. Don't wait to be fearless. Do this now. Take the first step. Make the first move. Say yes to the life you were meant to live. And don't look back. Decisions shape destiny, not conditions. This truth is the cornerstone of every transformation story, every breakthrough, and every life that has gone from ordinary to extraordinary. It's not our background, not our current circumstances, not the economy, and not even our upbringing that determines where we end up. It's the decisions we make every single day that shape our destiny. Your decisions are the steering wheel of your life. No matter how difficult your starting point may be, the direction you choose defines where you'll arrive. You've seen people come from poverty and rise to lead empires. You've seen individuals with no support, no connections, no obvious path forward, still find a way to win. And on the flip side, you've seen people born with every advantage waste it all. Why? Because decisions, not conditions, determine outcomes. One person decides to take control of their health, their mindset, their habits, and everything changes. Another blames genetics, blames their job, blames their stress, and stays stuck. Same world, different outcomes. Because of decisions, the power of a decision is immediate. The moment you decide, really decide, that you're no longer going to tolerate something, a new path opens. You may not know how it will all unfold, but the decision itself creates momentum. It's not enough to wish or to want. We all want more. We all wish things were better. But until you decide, truly, fully commit that you will do whatever it takes, nothing shifts. A real decision cuts off all other options. It's not I'll try or I hope, it's I will. That kind of certainty moves mountains. Most people don't live the life they want because they're stuck in a loop of indecision. They think about starting a business, but they don't decide. They think about getting fit, but they don't decide. They think about changing their life, but they never actually decide to change it. They float in the gray zone of someday. but someday isn't on the calendar. And that zone is where dreams die. The only way out is through the door of a decision. People overestimate the impact of their environment and underestimate the power of their choice. Your job, your bank account, your relationships, these may influence you, but they don't control you. What you decide in response to them is what matters. Someone loses their job and falls apart. Someone else loses theirs and starts their dream business. Someone gets rejected and gives up on love. Someone else gets rejected and becomes more determined to grow. It's never the condition, it's always the decision. Even the smallest decisions can compound into massive results. The decision to wake up an hour earlier, the decision to read instead of scroll, the decision to walk away from what drains you. Each choice becomes a building block of the life you're creating. And if you don't decide, someone else will decide for you. Your boss, your fears, your past, the people around you. But when you decide, you take the power back. You don't need perfect conditions to make a decision. Waiting for certainty, for guarantees, for the right timing, that's a trap. Life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to decide in spite of it. Every great life, every major shift, every inspiring story begins with a single bold decision. One moment where someone says, no more, or I'm going for it, or this is who I am now. That moment changes everything. What makes this principle timeless is its simplicity and its truth. You can't control every event in your life, but you can control what you decide to do about it. You can't always choose the weather, but you can choose your direction. You can't erase the past, but you can decide how it defines you. And in every moment, you're just one decision away from a new trajectory. Clarity is power. Know what you want. Most people walk through life unclear, uncertain, and unfocused. They say they want success, but they can't define it. They say they want change, but they don't know what change looks like. Without clarity, there is no direction, and without direction, there is no momentum. Clarity creates focus, and focus creates power. When you are crystal clear on what you want, your energy aligns, your actions sharpen, and your results multiply. Vague goals create vague results. If you say, I want to be successful, but don't define what that means, financially, emotionally, spiritually, you drift. You react to life instead of designing it. But when you say, I want to earn $10,000, 0 cents a month, doing what I love by this date, your mind goes to work. Your brain begins filtering information, spotting opportunities, and solving problems to get you there. That's how powerful clarity is. It triggers your internal GPS and starts recalibrating your path with precision. The human brain is a goal-seeking mechanism. It's designed to pursue what you focus on. But if your focus is scattered, confused, or constantly shifting, the brain can't work at full capacity. Clarity eliminates distraction. It shuts out noise. It simplifies choices. When you know what you want, decision-making becomes effortless. You say no to things that don't align. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You conserve your energy for what moves you forward. People often confuse motion with progress. They stay busy, but not effective. They chase everything and catch nothing. But clarity fixes that. It brings intention to action. It makes sure your ladder is leaning against the right wall before you start climbing. Because there's nothing more frustrating than achieving something and realizing it wasn't what you wanted in the first place. Clarity prevents that. It keeps you aligned with your true desires, not society's expectations or someone else's version of success. Knowing what you want also gives you emotional power. It gives your life purpose and your actions meaning. When your goals are vague, your motivation fades fast. But when you're clear, you have a reason to push through the pain, to stay up late, to get up early. You're not driven by hype, you're driven by vision. A clear vision pulls you forward even when things get hard. It becomes your internal fuel source when external rewards aren't enough. You don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need to be specific. I want to be healthier is not enough. What does that look like? Losing 10 pounds? Running a 5K? Sleeping 8 hours a night? I want to grow my business? Means nothing unless you define growth. Is it revenue, reach, team size? Clarity forces you to be honest. It forces you to strip away the fluff and confront what really matters to you. And the more you revisit and refine your clarity, the stronger your results become. It's not a one-time decision, it's a daily practice. Every morning, you remind yourself of what you're building. Every evening, you check in, did I move closer today or drift further? Clarity makes your time meaningful. It makes your goals measurable. It makes your purpose personal. Without it, even hard work leads to burnout. With it, even obstacles feel like part of the plan. The truth is, most people aren't tired. They're scattered. They're not unmotivated. They're unfocused. Once you get clear, energy comes back. Drive comes back. Confidence comes back. Because now you're not guessing, you're aiming. You're not hoping, you're creating. You know what you want, and that knowledge becomes your compass in the chaos. It gives you a sense of control in a world full of distraction and doubt. It separates wishful thinking from real commitment and positions you to take bold, strategic action toward a life that's truly yours. Standards, not goals, determine your success. Goals are intentions, things you want. Standards are expectations, what you require of yourself. Everyone sets goals, but only a few raise their standards high enough to demand progress. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you tolerate. And what you tolerate is defined by your standards. When your standards rise, your life begins to shift, because suddenly what was once acceptable becomes unacceptable, and what once felt impossible becomes non-negotiable. The difference between people who thrive and people who struggle isn't usually intelligence or talent. It's the level of standards they hold themselves to. One person says, I want to get in shape, and another says, I will not live another week with this energy level. One sets a goal, the other raises a standard. And when standards are raised, behavior follows. You start doing things not because they're convenient, but because they're who you are now. Your identity upgrades when your standards do. Goals can be inspiring, but they're often temporary. People get excited about a New Year's resolution, a fresh start, a motivational video. But when life pushes back, that excitement fades. Standards, on the other hand, stick. They're rooted in your identity. When your standard is excellence, you don't deliver average. When your standard is health, you don't abuse your body. When your standard is honesty, you don't betray your values, even when no one's watching. Standards create structure. They become your internal code. You rise to the level of your standards, not your goals. You may set a goal to earn more money, but if your standard is financial struggle, you'll find a way to sabotage that growth. Your standard falls if your standard is showing up late, being inconsistent, or tolerating toxic environments. Those behaviors will quietly eat away at your success, no matter how big your dreams are. Your standards create the ceiling for your potential, and until that ceiling rises, your results stay stuck. It's not about being perfect. It's about refusing to live below what you know you're capable of. Raising your standards doesn't mean everything changes overnight. It means you start operating with a new level of seriousness, discipline, and intention. It means excuses no longer have a place in your story. It means you stop letting comfort control you. Because the moment you say, this is no longer acceptable in my life, you draw a line that your old habits can't cross. And that line becomes your edge. It becomes the invisible force that drives your choices, even when no one is watching. People with high standards don't wait for motivation. They rely on identity. They don't rely on mood, they rely on systems. They've trained themselves to do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. That's where real freedom comes from. Not in lowering the bar to feel better, but in raising the bar to be better. You can set goals all day long. You can write them down, vision board them, speak them into the universe. But if your standards don't match your goals, your actions won't either. Goals are about what you want. Standards are about what you're willing to live with, what you're willing to fight for, what you're unwilling to accept. If you want lasting change, shift your identity through standards, not through wishful thinking. When you upgrade your standards, people notice. Your energy changes, your discipline sharpens, your time becomes more valuable, you attract opportunities because you carry yourself differently. And not only do you gain external results, you gain internal peace. Because deep down, you know you're not settling. You're not coasting. You're honoring the part of yourself that knows you were made for more. And once you taste that alignment, going back is no longer an option. Emotion fuels motion. Master your state. Everything you do, every action you take, every decision you make is driven by emotion. You don't take action because of logic alone. You move when you feel something strong enough. Emotion is the invisible force that determines whether you hesitate or go all in, whether you shrink back or stand tall. If you want to change your life, you have to master your emotional state, because the quality of your life is the quality of your emotion. There are people with all the talent, resources, and knowledge in the world who still don't move. They don't act. They don't create. They don't push forward. Why? Because their emotional state is stuck. They live in fear, doubt, hesitation, or apathy. On the other hand, someone else with fewer resources but a strong emotional drive takes massive action and produces incredible results. The difference isn't intelligence, it's emotional mastery. When you control your state, you control your behavior. When you control your behavior, you control your outcomes. Your emotional state determines how you interpret events, how you show up for challenges, how you communicate, and how much power you bring to the moment. Two people can face the exact same situation. One panics and quits, the other rises and leads. Same problem, different response. The difference is in the state they enter the moment with. Learning how to shift into a peak state where your energy is high, your focus is sharp, and your belief is strong is one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. You don't have to wait for good things to happen to feel good. You can create the emotional state you want on command. You can train your nervous system to respond with confidence, with certainty, with passion. Physical movement, language, breath, and focus. These are tools that let you take charge of how you feel in any moment. When you slump your shoulders, speak softly, and focus on what's going wrong, you'll feel weak. But when you stand tall, breathe deeply, and focus on what you can control, your state shifts instantly. Most people are controlled by their environment. If something goes wrong, they feel bad. If someone praises them, they feel good. They live an emotional reaction instead of emotional creation. But you don't have to live that way. You can choose how to feel. You can walk into any situation, no matter how uncertain or difficult, and bring the emotion you need. Calm, power, joy, hunger. That choice gives you freedom. It gives you leverage. Because when you no longer depend on outside conditions to feel strong, you become unstoppable. There is no strategy that works if you're in a lousy state. You won't use the tools you've learned. You won't access your creativity. And you won't follow through. But in a powerful state, you become resourceful. You find solutions. You take risks. You bounce back from failure with speed. Because you're not being dragged by emotion. You're using it like fuel. Emotion becomes a force, not a weight. And when that shift happens, your life becomes completely different. The fastest way to change your life is to change your state. Not by escaping it, but by managing it. Most people try to avoid negative emotions instead of transforming them. They suppress anger, hide fear, numb sadness. But real power comes from facing those emotions and learning how to redirect them. Anger can become drive. Fear can become focus. Sadness can become empathy. Every emotion, even the painful ones, carries energy. And energy, when guided, creates transformation. When you learn to master your emotional state, you stop living at the mercy of circumstances. You stop giving your power away to people or problems. You become the one who decides how each moment will feel, how each day will begin, and how you will show up in every situation. That's real strength. Not the absence of emotion, but the command of it. When emotion fuels motion, and you are the one holding the wheel, nothing can hold you back. Progress equals happiness. Deep inside, every human being is wired for growth. When we feel like we're moving forward, even just a little, something inside us lights up. It's not the achievement itself that gives lasting fulfillment. It's the sense that we are evolving, expanding, becoming more. You can have the house, the job, the relationship, the money, but if you're not growing, you'll feel stuck. Success without progress feels empty, but struggle with progress feels fulfilling. Because progress means you're alive and you're moving with purpose. You don't need to be at the top of the mountain to feel joy. You just need to know you're climbing. That forward motion is what gives you the energy to keep going. It's what turns ordinary days into meaningful ones. Even the smallest step forward can create a spark. It tells your brain that change is happening. It gives you momentum. It shifts your identity from someone who's stuck to someone who's shifting, adapting, and moving towards something better. Most people chase outcomes. They think, when I get there, I'll be happy. But the truth is, lasting happiness isn't tied to outcomes. It's tied to progress. You've had times where you reached a goal and felt excited, but only for a moment. Then that excitement faded and you were left looking for the next thing. That's because the outcome gave you a hit of pleasure, but progress gives you sustained fulfillment. When you're growing, you don't need the world to change to feel good. You change from within. Growth is personal. It doesn't have to look like someone else's version of success. You don't have to compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. What matters is that you're better than you were yesterday. One more rep, one more page, one more honest conversation, one more fear-faced. Progress is deeply personal, and that's why it's so powerful. It's a contract between you and your future self. It's the quiet promise that you're not staying where you are. It's also what pulls you out of pain. When you feel stuck, overwhelmed, anxious, it's often because you feel stagnant. Your body, your mind, your soul, none of them were designed to sit still. When you begin to move forward, even slightly, everything begins to change. The fog lifts, energy returns, confidence rebuilds. You stop waiting for things to happen and start creating your own momentum. Because progress is not about perfection, it's about direction. Are you moving closer to the life you want or further away? People often underestimate the power of small, consistent growth. They look for big leaps, massive wins, overnight success. But real growth is usually quiet, steady, even invisible. It's the hard choice you make when no one's watching. It's the moment you choose discipline over comfort. It's the internal shift before the external results show up. But once you commit to progress, day by day, those small wins stack. And eventually, they become the foundation of a completely transformed life. There is no limit to how much you can grow, and that's the beauty of it. There is always a new level of strength, skill, insight, or love waiting for you. You are never done. There is no final destination. And that's not something to fear, it's something to celebrate. Because as long as you're alive, you can grow. And as long as you're growing, you can be happy. Fulfillment comes not from having, it comes from becoming. And becoming is a process you own completely.